On the evening of the 30th of April, 2026, something happened in Stockholm that royal jewellery historians will be talking about for decades. Not a coronation, not a state visit, a birthday dinner. King Carl XVI, Gustaf of Sweden, turned 80 years old, and to mark the occasion, he gathered around him the people he loves most in the world: his family, his cousins, the royal houses he is bound to by blood going back 2 centuries. And because this was a family reunion dressed in white tie, because these were the people who share his lineage and his history, what arrived in the gilded Rikssalen of the Royal Palace of Stockholm that night was something extraordinary. 19 tiaras, at least 19, in one room. Global jewellery experts called it the biggest tiara event of the year to date. But what made it remarkable wasn't the number, it was the why behind every single choice. Because almost every foreign queen and princess present that evening was a descendant or in-law of a 19th-century Swedish princess. And several of them, deliberately, thoughtfully, chose tiaras with Swedish provenance to honour the man at the head of the table. This wasn't pageantry for its own sake. This was a family telling its own story in diamonds. The evening. The day had begun with a Te Deum in the royal chapel, a 21-gun salute, a flypast of 8 JAS Gripen jets, and a luncheon at Stockholm City Hall. Crown Princess Victoria gave the principal speech, weaving in a personal mountaineering story about her father, a signal, if one were needed, that this was a milestone of the heart, not merely of protocol. By evening, the dress code was the strictest in Europe, white tie with full decorations. 6 of the ladies present wore the sash and star of the Swedish Order of the Seraphim: Queen Silvia, Queen Mary of Denmark, Queen Sonja of Norway, Queen Sofia of Spain, Queen Margrethe, and Princess Beatrix. Reserved for foreign heads of state and members of the Bernadotte family, it is the country's highest order, and its presence on so many shoulders that night spoke to the extraordinary depth of the guest list. King Charles III and Queen Camilla were absent, as they were on a state visit to the United States. At the White House state dinner, Camilla chose not to wear a tiara, instead accessorizing with a rare amethyst and diamond demi-parure, the necklace and earrings that once belonged to the Duchess of Kent, Queen Victoria's mother, along with the Cullinan 5-diamond brooch, a piece tied to royal heritage. Crown Princess Mette-Marit of Norway was not present either, her continuing illness having reduced her public appearances. But the continental turnout was, by any measure, remarkable. And then the tiaras began to arrive. The Swedish family. Queen Silvia closed the procession in a vivid red ball gown, and on her head sat what art historian Göran Alm has called the most important piece of jewellery in the Swedish royal vault, the Braganza tiara. Made around 1829 in France, it was a wedding gift from Emperor Pedro I of Brazil to his second wife, Princess Amélie of Leuchtenberg, set with diamonds harvested from the jewels of his late first empress, Maria Leopoldina, the Habsburg princess who died in Rio in 1826. Historian Trond Noren Isaksen tracked its passage to Sweden by sea in 1873, shipped on the Norwegian corvette Balder to Kristiansand and onward to Stockholm, when the widowed Empress Amélie left it to her sister, Queen Josefina of Sweden and Norway. Every Swedish queen since has worn it. Silvia herself has spoken of struggling to balance it for her first official portrait in October 1976. It weighs close to 3 pounds, composed of more than 1,000 diamonds in floral and leaf motifs. She has worn it abroad only once, for the 2007 state visit to Denmark. At home, she reserves it for the most exceptional occasions. Queen Elizabeth II's 1983 state visit, the 2010 wedding of Crown Princess Victoria, the King's 2023 Golden Jubilee banquet, and now this. Jewellery expert Nilesh Rakolia told Marie Claire in January 2026 that a modern recreation using comparable diamonds would enter the 8-figure range. But for Silvia, whose mother, Alice Suarez de Toledo, was Brazilian, the tiara's connection to the much-loved Empress Amélie is what makes it personal. Crown Princess Victoria arrived in cobalt blue, accompanied by Prince Daniel and 14-year-old Princess Estelle, wearing the Connaught diamond tiara, a delicate Edwardian piece of 5 forget-me-not garlands suspending detachable diamond drops, made in 1904 by E. Wolfe and Company of London. It was given to Princess Margaret of Connaught for her 1905 marriage to the future King Gustaf VI Adolf. Margaret died tragically young in 1920, aged 38, of complications following ear surgery. The Swedish Prime Minister announced that the ray of sunshine at Stockholm Palace has gone out. The tiara passed to her son Gustaf Adolf, then to his wife Princess Sibylla, the king's mother, who wore it so often that within the family it is simply called Princess Sibylla's tiara. Sibylla died in November 1972, less than a year before her son ascended the throne. By choosing the Connaught for her father's 80th, Victoria made an explicit emotional gesture. The king's mother, who never lived to see him reign, was symbolically present. Princess Sophia arrived in a magenta to white ombre gown wearing her wedding tiara, originally a diamond and emerald necklace given to Queen Silvia by an unidentified Thai prince, sent to Bangkok jeweller Beauty Gems to be transformed into a tiara of small diamond palmettes as a wedding gift from her parents-in-law in June 2015. It is now considered the most versatile tiara in Europe. From 2017 onwards, it has been opened into a halo, and Sophia has accumulated detachable toppers in emerald, pearl, citrine, London blue topaz, and, debuted at this banquet, amethyst briolets, chosen to coordinate with pieces from the Swedish royal family's grand Napoleonic-era amethyst parure. Luxarazzi has called the interchangeable toppers concept the most modern thinking of any in a European royal vault. Princess Madeleine wore the modern fringe tiara, acquired by King Carl XVI Gustaf as a 10th wedding anniversary gift for Queen Silvia in 1986, formally given to Madeleine on her own wedding day in June 2013. She paired it with earrings and a brooch from the family's Russian pink topaz suite, a parure that originated with Empress Maria Feodorovna of Russia and reached Sweden through the Bernadotte intermarriages of the 19th century. Experts noted that this banquet represented Madeleine's first state-style banquet alongside European royalty since her quiet step back from royal duties last October. And then there was Princess Christina, the king's youngest sister, wearing the 6-button tiara, a piece whose 6 diamond rosettes once adorned the coronation crown of King Carl XIV Johann, the Bernadotte dynasty's founder, in 1818, having been added by him to the older Renaissance crown of King Eric XIV, made in 1561. Queen Victoria of Sweden ordered the rosettes removed in 1909 and conceived the idea of mounting them on a tiara frame, but died before the work was finished. The piece sat in the palace vaults until inventories taken around the king's 1976 wedding rediscovered it. By wearing this tiara, Princess Christina effectively wore the Bernadotte dynasty itself. The foreign queens. And this is where the evening becomes something more than a birthday dinner. This is where the jewels begin to speak. Queen Mary of Denmark provided the night's most discussed jewellery story. She wore a flat bandeau composed of a diamond bracelet that had never before been used as a tiara, a piece given by King Oscar I and Queen Josefina of Sweden to their new daughter-in-law, Princess Louise of the Netherlands, on her February 1850 engagement to the future King Carl XV. It passed to her only daughter, Lovisa of Sweden, who became Queen of Denmark on her 1869 marriage to Frederick VIII. Lovisa transferred it to the Danish royal family's property trust in 1910. Queen Margrethe wore it as a choker in the 1980s. Mary's choice to mount it on a tiara frame for the King of Sweden's birthday paired with antique floral diamond earrings of hereditary Princess Caroline and a square diamond brooch from Queen Josefina's collection, was both a tribute to the king's Swedish ancestor and an act of imaginative restoration. As jewellery experts observed, this is the first time, I believe, that it's been used as a tiara. Queen Sonja of Norway wore the Norwegian emerald parure tiara, the grandest set of jewels in the Norwegian royal vault, an empire-style piece dominated by a massive square-cut emerald. Its most dramatic moment came in August 1940, when Crown Princess Märtha of Norway fled Nazi-occupied Norway with her 3 children for the United States via Stockholm. Her mother, Princess Ingeborg, met her on the platform of Stockholm Central Station and pressed a parcel into her hand. Inside, wrapped in a scarf, was the emerald parure, to be sold piece by piece if the family ran out of money in exile. They never had to. By bringing it to Stockholm in 2026, Sonja returned it for one night to the city in which it was last seen on Princess Ingeborg. Queen Margrethe, 85 years old, and escorted by King Philippe of the Belgians, wore the Baden Palmette tiara, made in 1856 by Koch of Frankfurt as a wedding gift from King Wilhelm I of Prussia to his daughter Princess Louise for her marriage to Grand Duke Friedrich I of Baden. Louise's daughter, Queen Victoria of Sweden, brought it to Stockholm on her 1881 marriage. Victoria left it to her granddaughter, Queen Ingrid of Denmark, who left it to Margrethe in 2000. For Margrethe, wearing the Baden tiara is a way of wearing her grandmother. She paired it with a 5-row pearl necklace and a diamond and pearl bar brooch given to her by her British great-aunt, Lady Patricia Ramsay. Queen Sofia of Spain arrived in pale blue wearing the Melerio shell tiara, a piece Hola magazine reported had not been seen at a major foreign event in nearly 2 decades. Designed by Oscar Massin and made by Melerio Ditzmeller of Paris for the 1867 Universal Exhibition, it was bought the following year by Queen Isabel II of Spain. After La Charta's death in Parisian exile in 1931, the tiara was reportedly smuggled out of Spain, stitched inside the lining of a hat. It came to Queen Sofia in 1962 as a joint wedding gift from Queen Ina and the Count and Countess of Barcelona, and remains her personal property, not part of the Spanish joyas de pasar. Its reappearance was, in the words of Hola, an evening of elegance and legacy. Princess Beatrix of the Netherlands, 88 years old and escorted by Grand Duke Henri, wore the Dutch diamond bandeau, made in 1937 from 27 of the 34 old mine diamonds that had originally formed the Rivière, given to Queen Emma of the Netherlands by the Dutch people on her 1879 wedding to King Willem III. It was created for Crown Princess Juliana, the consort jewel of 3 subsequent Dutch queens. Queen Suthida of Thailand provided perhaps the most extraordinary moment of the evening. She wore the Thai diamond fringe tiara, and it was, according to Thailand's Nation Thailand and ASEAN Mong Thai, the first time she had ever worn a tiara in public. The fringe is one of the oldest jewels in the Chakri royal collection, dating to the reign of King Chulalongkorn in the late 19th century, believed to have been ordered in Europe so that Siam's regalia could stand alongside those of European royal courts. It was first photographed on Queen Saovabha Phongsri, then Queen Rambai Bani, at the 1926 coronation of King Prajadipok, and most famously by Queen Sirikit during the 1960 European tour. It had not been seen in public since the Swedish state visit to Thailand in 2003. Queen Sirikit, now 93 and frail, would have known its appearance carried a passing of the torch. The deeper family. The room held more. Hereditary Princess Sophie of Liechtenstein wore the Habsburg fringe, made around 1890 by A.E. Kockert, the imperial and royal court jeweller in Vienna, for Archduchess Maria Theresa of Austria. It was famously worn at the wedding of the future Emperor Karl I and Empress Zita in 1911. It has been worn as a bridal tiara by every reigning Liechtenstein bride since, including, in August 2025, Sophie's own daughter, Princess Marie Caroline. Princess Benedicta of Denmark, the king's first cousin, wore the Wittgenstein-Berleburg fringe, made by Koch in 1905, inherited by her late husband Prince Richard from his grandmother in 1976. Hereditary Princess Kelly of Saxe-Coburg and Gotha wore the family's turquoise coronet, which appeared on Princess Victoria Adelheid of Schleswig-Holstein-Sonderburg, Glucksburg, around the time of her 1905 marriage to Prince Charles Edward. Victoria Adelheid was the king's maternal grandmother. She wore this very tiara at the 1932 Coburg wedding of her daughter Sibylla to Prince Gustaf Adolf of Sweden, the king's parents. Kelly's choice was another generational tribute. Margareta, custodian of the Crown of Romania, wore the Greek key tiara, made for Grand Duchess Victoria Feodorovna of Russia as a gift from her husband Grand Duke Kirill on their 1905 marriage. After the revolution, Ducky smuggled her jewels out of Russia by stuffing them into the dolls of her two small daughters. The tiara eventually reached Queen Marie of Romania around 1920, survived the Romanian abdication of 1947 and decades of communism, and is the only major Romanian royal tiara not auctioned. Its geometric, almost Art Deco appearance belies a survival story almost without parallel. And then there was Countess Madeleine Bernadotte, who wore a pearl and diamond floral piece that came down through her aristocratic Swedish mother's family. Her mother Elsa wore it at King Gustaf V's 80th birthday banquet in 1938. Staggeringly, the very kind of event Madeleine herself was now attending nearly 9 decades later, in honor of Gustaf V's great-grandson. What this evening actually was. The King's 80th was a more closed, more cousinly evening than the 2010 wedding, and richer in dual historical resonance for that reason. She is right. The 2010 wedding had 38 foreign tiaras. This banquet had fewer guests, a tighter circle. But because the king invited his deepest dynastic relations rather than a state visit guest list, more of the foreign jewels worn carried explicit Swedish provenance. The Norwegian emerald parure, originally Queen Josefina's. The Baden palmette, originally Queen Victoria's. The floral bracelet worn as a tiara by Queen Mary, originally Queen Louise's. The Saxe-Coburg turquoise, worn by Princess Sibylla's mother. Even the Romanian Greek key through the Coburg-Romanian-Russian connection. This was, in effect, a family reunion in which the family's heirlooms were allowed to do most of the talking. And the most conspicuously absent Swedish tiara. The Leuchtenberg sapphire tiara itself, Crown Princess Victoria wore the brooch and earrings but left the tiara in the vault, choosing the Connaught instead. The likely explanation is that the king and queen wanted a clear hierarchy at the table. Silvia in the Braganza, Victoria in the Connaught, Sibylla's tiara, Sophia in her own modern wedding piece, Madeleine in the modern fringe, and Christina in the 6-button. The grandest Swedish tiaras were distributed to ensure each lady wore something with personal significance to the king, rather than the absolute grandeur the family could have mustered. That restraint, that deliberate choice of meaning over spectacle, is perhaps the most Swedish thing about the entire evening. 19 tiaras. One room, one man's 80th birthday, and every single piece carried a thread, back to a Swedish princess, a Norwegian exile, a revolution, a smuggled parcel on a train platform, a grandmother's wedding day. The jewels didn't just decorate the room, they mapped the family. I find myself thinking about Countess Madeleine Bernadotte most of all. Sitting at that table, wearing the same tiara her mother wore at the same kind of dinner 88 years earlier. Some stories don't need embellishment. Which tiara moved you most? And is there one you wish had made an appearance that didn't? Tell me in the comments. I genuinely want to know what you think. If you